Third, embrace the socially underprivileged. Key, a distinctive quality that differentiates global leaders from others is their unwavering commitment to social contribution, particularly their embrace of the socially underprivileged. A true global leader recognizes individual differences and actively seeks to uplift those who are marginalized or underrepresented. These leaders see beyond the majority's needs and aim to create a society that is inclusive and fair for everyone. Global leaders believe in listening to and understanding the challenges faced by disadvantaged communities. They utilize their influence and resources to bring attention to pressing issues and drive meaningful change. Their efforts might include advocating for policy reforms, implementing inclusive business practices, or supporting philanthropic initiatives that target marginalized groups. Their commitment to social contribution involves not only addressing immediate needs, but also fostering long-term solutions. They recognize that tackling systemic barriers requires strategic partnerships, innovation, and sustained effort. By prioritizing inclusivity, they create environments where every individual has the opportunity to thrive and reach their full potential. Ultimately, global leaders who embrace the socially underprivileged help build a more compassionate and equitable world. Their proactive and empathetic leadership sets a powerful example of how inclusive thinking can lead to transformative societal impact. B. A compelling example of a global leader who embraced the underprivileged is former says President Barack Obama. Throughout his presidency and beyond, he stood firmly for human rights and consistently held the hands of those whose rights were violated. His tenure was marked by a profound commitment to highlighting pressing social issues like racial discrimination, economic inequality, and immigration reform. In numerous speeches and policy initiatives, Obama brought these matters to the forefront, broadening both the national and global dialogues around human rights and equality. One of the pivotal moments of his presidency was his handling of racial discrimination and social justice. He spoke candidly about systemic racism, from police violence to disparities in criminal justice and economic opportunities, amplifying conversations that led to the Black Lives Matter movement. He pushed for criminal justice reform and addressed mass incarceration, recognizing the disproportionate impact it had on communities of color. In the realm of economic inequality, Obama sought to reduce disparities by enacting policies like the Affordable Care Act, which aimed to provide health insurance to millions who were previously uninsured. He also expanded educational opportunities through initiatives like the My Brother's Keeper program, designed to address opportunity gaps facing young men of color. Furthermore, his economic policies during the recovery from the 2008 financial crisis prioritize saving jobs and protecting working-class families. On immigration, Obama advocated for comprehensive immigration reform, recognizing the rights of immigrants as a critical part of human rights, although his efforts were often stymied by a divided Congress. He enacted policies like Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals DACA, which provided protection from deportation for undocumented immigrants brought to the U.S. as children. Internationally, Obama's leadership and speeches underscored the global responsibility for protecting human rights. His diplomatic efforts in normalizing relations with Cuba and negotiating the Iran nuclear deal reflected a commitment to resolving conflicts through peaceful means. He also highlighted the need for multilateral efforts to tackle climate change, understanding that environmental issues disproportionately affect the world's poorest population. His tireless advocacy for human rights and social justice earned him the Nobel Peace Prize in 2009. The committee recognized his extraordinary efforts to strengthen international diplomacy and cooperation between peoples, and his vision for a world without nuclear weapons. Even after leaving office, Obama continued to be an influential advocate for social justice and human rights. Through the Obama Foundation, he has worked to empower emerging leaders globally, providing them with tools and networks to drive positive change in their communities. Similarly, Bill Gates, one of the world's wealthiest individuals, has demonstrated unwavering dedication to social contribution. His philanthropy through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has had a transformative impact on global challenges, addressing issues such as poverty, disease, and education. Gates recognized early on that his wealth and influence could be leveraged to catalyze significant positive change. As a result, the Gates Foundation has become one of the largest charitable organizations in the world, channeling billions of dollars into initiatives aimed at improving healthcare, education, and sustainable development. A key focus area for the foundation has been global health. Gates's passion for eradicating infectious diseases has driven substantial progress in combating illnesses like malaria, polio, and HIV/AIDS. The foundation has provided funding for research, vaccination campaigns, and treatment programs, particularly in regions where healthcare systems are underfunded. Their work with the Global Polio Eradication Initiative, for example, helped reduce polio cases by 99% since its launch. In response to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Gates Foundation pledged hundreds of millions of dollars to support the development and distribution of vaccines, treatments, and diagnostics, particularly in low-income countries. They collaborated with global partners to ensure equitable access to these life-saving resources. Gates' leadership emphasized the need for international cooperation to control the virus, reinforcing his belief in the importance of global health security. In addition to healthcare, the Gates Foundation has made strides in improving global education, recognizing that education is fundamental to breaking cycles of poverty. The foundation has invested heavily in initiatives that expand access to quality education, particularly for girls and underserved communities. Their efforts include funding scholarships, developing innovative teaching models, and supporting educational reform in developing nations. Sustainable development has also been a central focus for Gates. The foundation addresses food security, agricultural innovation, and financial inclusion to empower communities to lift themselves out of poverty. Through partnerships with organizations like the United Nations and the World Bank, they work to advance sustainable agricultural practices, improve nutrition, and provide tools for small-scale farmers to increase their yields and income. Gates' dedication to philanthropy is not only about giving back, but also about solving some of the world's most pressing problems. He uses data-driven approaches to identify impactful solutions and leverages partnerships with governments, NGOs, and private enterprises to scale up these solutions. Beyond the work of the foundation, Gates has encouraged other wealthy individuals to join his efforts through the Giving Pledge, which invites billionaires to commit at least half of their wealth to philanthropy. This movement has significantly expanded the pool of resources available for addressing global challenges. Global leaders like Obama and Gates understand that true leadership extends beyond managing organizations or countries to providing empathy and support for those less fortunate. They believe in leveling the playing field by addressing systemic issues that prevent certain groups from reaching their full potential, by tackling barriers such as poverty, discrimination, and lack of access to healthcare or education. They strive to create a more equitable society where everyone has a fair chance to succeed. In addition to these prominent figures, many other global leaders across various sectors embody the principle of embracing the socially underprivileged. They actively contribute to solving problems related to disadvantaged communities, whether through policy reforms, philanthropic initiatives, or partnerships with organizations that support marginalized groups. By acknowledging and addressing societal disparities, these leaders strive to build a more equitable and inclusive world, where every individual has the opportunity to thrive. Such leaders also prioritize listening to the voices of the underprivileged and understanding their environments. They leverage their platforms and influence to amplify these voices, advocating for meaningful reforms that can improve the lives of millions. By staying connected with marginalized communities and recognizing their specific needs, these leaders ensure their efforts are grounded in reality, leading to more impactful policies and initiatives that foster long-lasting positive change. In conclusion, embracing the socially underprivileged is a hallmark of global leadership. It is this commitment to social contribution and a willingness to listen to marginalized voices that truly define a global leader. By acknowledging individual differences and taking proactive steps to address disparities, leaders like Obama and Gates exemplify the transformative power of empathy, philanthropy, and inclusive thinking.
White America and Latino America and Asian America. There's the United States of America. America, tonight, if you feel the same energy that I do, if you feel the same urgency that I do, if you feel the same passion that I do, if you feel the same hopefulness that I do, if we do what we must do, then I have no doubt. Tonight is a particular honor for me because, let's face it, my presence on this stage is pretty unlikely. My father was a foreign student, born and raised in a small village in Kenya. He grew up herding goats, went to school in a tin roof shed. His father, my grandfather, was a cook, a domestic servant to the British. But my grandfather had larger dreams for his son. Through hard work and perseverance, my father got a scholarship to study in a magical place, America, that shone as a beacon of freedom and opportunity to so many who had come before. While studying here, my father met my mother. She was born in a town on the other side of the world, in Kansas. My parents shared not only an improbable love, they shared an abiding faith in the possibilities of this nation. They would give me an African name, Barack or Blessing, believing that in a tolerant America, your name is no barrier to success. They imagined me going to the best schools in the land, even though they weren't rich, because in a generous America, you don't have to be rich to achieve your potential. Tonight, we gather to affirm the greatness of our nation. Not because of the height of our skyscrapers or the power of our military or the size of our economy. Our pride is based on a very simple premise, summed up in a declaration made over 200 years ago. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That is the true genius of America. A faith in simple dreams, an insistence on small miracles, that we can tuck in our children at night and know that they are fed and clothed and safe from harm. That we can say what we think, write what we think without hearing a sudden knock on the door. That we can have an idea and start our own business without paying a bribe. That we can participate in the political process without fear of retribution, and that our votes will be counted, at least most of the time. This year, in this election, we are called to reaffirm our values and our commitments, to hold them against a hard reality, and see how we're measuring up to the legacy of our forebears and the promise of future generations. Now, even as we speak, there are those who are preparing to divide us. The spin masters, the negative ad peddlers, who embrace the politics of anything goes. Well, I say to them tonight, there is not a liberal America and a conservative America. There is the United States of America. There is not a Black America and a white America and Latino America and Asian America. There's the United States of America. For alongside our famous individualism, there's another ingredient in the American side, a belief that we're all connected as one people. If there's a child on the south side of Chicago who can't read, that matters to me, even if it's not my child. If there's a senior citizen somewhere who can't pay for their prescription drugs and having to choose between medicine and the rent, that makes my life poorer, even if it's not my grandparent. If there's an Arab American family being rounded up without benefit of an attorney or due process, that threatens my civil liberties. It is that fundamental belief. It is that fundamental belief. I am my brother's keeper. I am my sister's keeper that makes this country work. It's what allows us to pursue our individual dreams and yet still come together as one American family. E pluribus unum, out of many, one. Do we participate in a politics of cynicism, or do we participate in a politics of hope? John Kerry calls on us to hope. John Edwards calls on us to hope. I'm not talking about blind optimism here, the almost willful ignorance that thinks unemployment will go away if we just don't think about it, or healthcare crisis will solve itself if we just ignore it. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about something more substantial. The hope of slaves sitting around a fire singing freedom songs. The hope of immigrants setting out for distant shores. The hope of a young naval lieutenant bravely patrolling the Mekong Delta. The hope of a mill worker's son who dares to defy the odds. The hope of a skinny kid with a funny name who believes that America has a place for him too. Hope, hope in the face of difficulty. Hope in the face of uncertainty. The audacity of hope. In the end, that is God's greatest gift to us, the bedrock of this nation. A belief in things not seen. A belief that there are better days ahead. I believe that we can give our middle class relief and provide working families with a road to opportunity. I believe we can provide jobs to the jobless, homes to the homeless, and reclaim young people in cities across America from violence and despair. I believe that we have a righteous wind at our backs, and that as we stand on the crossroads of history, we can make the right choices and meet the challenges that face us. America, tonight, if you feel the same energy that I do, if you feel the same urgency that I do, if you feel the same passion that I do, if you feel the same hopefulness that I do, if we do what we must do, then I have no doubt that all across the country, from Florida to Oregon, from Washington to Maine, the people will rise up in November, and John Kerry will be sworn in as president, and John Edwards will be sworn in as vice president, and this country will reclaim its promise, and out of this long political darkness, a brighter day will come. Thank you very much, everybody. God bless you. Thank you.